Life is a hard battle anyway. If we laugh and sing a little as we fight the good fight of freedom, it makes it all go easier. I will not allow my life's light to be determined by the darkness around me. If women want rights more than they got, why don't they just take them, and not be talking about it? Because of them I can now live the dream. I am the seed of the free, and I know it. I intend to bear great fruit. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted, and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man, when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children, and seen most all sold off to slavery, and when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? I have been 40 years a slave and 40 years free, and would be here 40 years more to have equal rights for all. I am for keeping the thing going while things are stirring. Because if we wait till it is still, it will take a great while to get it going again. It is hard for the old slave-holding spirit to die. But die it must. I am glad to see that men are getting their rights, but I want women to get theirs, and while the water is stirring, I will step into the pool. There is a great stir about colored men getting their rights, but not a word about the colored women, and if colored men get their rights, and not colored women theirs, you see the colored men will be masters over the women, and it will be just as bad as it was before. So I am for keeping the thing going while things are stirring, because if we wait till it is still, it will take a great while to get it going again. Oh no, honey, I can't read little things like letters. I read big things like men. Then that little man in black there, he says women can't have as much rights as men, 'cause Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. I am a woman's rights. I have as much as any man, and can do as much work as any man. I have done a great deal of work, as much as a man, but did not get so much pay. I used to work in the field and bind grain, keeping up with the cradler, but men doing no more, got twice as much pay. We do as much, we eat as much, we want as much. You may hiss as much as you please, but women will get their rights anyway. Now, if you want me to get out of the world, you had better get the women votin' soon. I shan't go till I can do that. When I left the house of bondage I left everything behind. I wasn't going to keep nothing of Egypt on me, and so I went to the Lord and asked him to give me a new name. And he gave me Sojourner because I was to travel up and down the land showing the people their sins and being a sign unto them. I told the Lord I wanted 2 names 'cause everybody else had 2, and the Lord gave me Truth, because I was to declare the truth to the people. The Spirit calls me, and I must go. When I got religion, I found some work to do to benefit somebody. Let individuals make the most of what God has given them, have their neighbors do the same, and then do all they can to serve each other. There is no use in one man, or one nation, to try to do or be everything. It is a good thing to be dependent on each other for something, it makes us civil and peaceable. Though it seems curious, I do not remember ever asking for anything but what I got it. And I always received it as an answer to my prayers. Let others say what they will of the efficacy of prayer, I believe in it, and I shall pray. Thank God. Yes, I shall always pray. Then I will speak upon the ashes. You have been having our rights so long, that you think, like a slaveholder, that you own us. I know that it is hard for one who has held the reins for so long to give up, it cuts like a knife. It will feel all the better when it closes up again. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back, and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it, the men better let them. Sojourner Truth, born Isabella Baumfree, 1797 November 26, 1883. Sojourner Truth once estimated that she was born between 1797 and 1800. Truth was one of the 10 or 12 children born to James and Elizabeth Baumfree or Baumfree. Colonel Hardenberg bought James and Elizabeth Baumfree from slave traders and kept their family at his estate in a big hilly area called by the Dutch name Zwartekil, just north of present-day Riften, in the town of Esopus, New York, 95 miles 153 kilometers north of New York City. Her first language was Dutch, and she continued to speak with a Dutch accent for the rest of her life. Charles Hardenberg inherited his father's estate and continued to enslave people as a part of that estate's property. Sojourner Truth was an American abolitionist and activist for African American civil rights, women's rights, and alcohol temperance. Truth was born into slavery in Zwartekil, New York, but escaped with her infant daughter to freedom in 1826. After going to court to recover her son in 1828, she became the first black woman to win such a case against a white man. She gave herself the name Sojourner Truth in 1843 after she became convinced that God had called her to leave the city and go into the countryside, testifying to the hope that was in her. Her best-known speech was delivered extemporaneously, in 1851, at the Ohio Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio. The speech became widely known during the Civil War by the title, "Ain't I a Woman?" A variation of the original speech rewritten by someone else using a stereotypical Southern dialect, whereas Sojourner Truth was from New York and grew up speaking Dutch as her first language. During the Civil War, Truth helped recruit black troops for the Union Army. After the war, she tried unsuccessfully to secure land grants from the federal government for formerly enslaved people, summarized as the promise of 40 acres and a mule. She continued to fight on behalf of women and African Americans until her death. As her biographer Nell Irvin Painter wrote, at a time when most Americans thought of slaves as male and women as white, Truth embodied a fact that still bears repeating. Among the blacks are women, among the women, there are blacks. A memorial bust of Truth was unveiled in 2009 in Emancipation Hall in the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center. She is the first African American woman to have a statue in the Capitol building. In 2014, Truth was included in Smithsonian Magazine's list of the 100 most significant Americans of all time.